How you doing, everybody? Uh, Eric and Bruce, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me okay? Sound all right? Yes, no, maybe? Oh, okay. Oh, good. Yes, thanks, Eric. Okay, I don't want to. Oh, hey, Clyde, how you doing, man? Happy birthday again. Uh, C Big B, how you doing, man? Um, Dr. A and B, Seth Morley, Redskins. How you doing, Redskins? Al, Richard Roll. Uh, hey, Mike. How's it going? Okay. Hey, Mooney 42. Keep on flying. NRS. Ro- Rohit. Hi, man. Okay. The two categories are Rolex and not Rolex. Okay. Uh, let's take a look at this. This is what I wanted to look at. I was after the Watch Time show. I Yeah, I was thinking about the whole thing about the way we look at watches, and the 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 thing about it is that we're uh, we're looking at watch categories, including the one I tried to make. I'll talk about that in a second with the tiers, based on what the people in who are selling watches have. Hey, Stacking Zerps and Rich, caliber 3135. Yes, ma'am. But this is this is sort of the sense that I had. I said, well, now, hey, Richard A. Um, the the sense that I had is that on the one hand, we sort of buy into it. I mean, the whole notion of high horology was brought about by the Foundation for High Horology, and that was put together by the Richemont Group, which sells watches. And the watches that they have are quite nice. But hey, Marcel, how's it going, man? Uh, EMAD. So in something, how's it going? In S something, I'm sorry. Um, so this is sort of what I want to see if we can rewind this. I was looking at some of my watches, and in last time I think on Friday's video I talked about, at some point you got to like what you got, okay? And rather than saying, okay, well, here are these categories. Now, the when I set up this whole thing with tiers, I did it not to sort of stratify us, but rather to say, look, if you're going to pay a lot of money for these watches, you should be able to sort of put them in these different categories. But then the more I thought about it, it's, well, what, in a way, that's to some extent, I was following sort of what the watch guys had. And so I thought, well, maybe what we ought to think about is, here we are, we're buying watches, and what do we like? Well, there's a lot of variation. My own particular taste are pretty much time only watches. I like really good ones, but I don't like to pay a lot of money for them. All right. So this comes down. Okay, so what's a good watch? Hi, Milton. Um, and so I was looking at my different watches, and this is one. This is a Seiko 5, and a Seiko 5 had brought more innovations than to wristwatches when it first came out in 1968 than most others, and they still make it. I mean, the fact that they're still selling these things, excuse me, um, is says something. Well, hey, there's something sort of special about this watch. And okay, now on the other hand, we take something that comes in the high horology category. Hi, bud. Uh, and the Randy, how's it going, man? The and then we look at this is one that is considered high horology. It's a Vacheron Content 10 Easter Reeks. And the one of the big ideas about high horology is that they have a lot of stuff on the finishing. And this has got Geneva waves, and probably if I look really closely, there's some perlage in there. But does that really was this is what I really get? On the other hand, if I look at my A Longa, I got this incredible all of this work that's been done, and this engraving had to put a real diamond on top of the balance. So you have that, and that they're they're both watches. One, by the way, is stainless steel, and the other one is gold. That factors into the price of it. Hey, Nino, how's it going, man? Christopher. Um, and so what are we that doesn't mean it's my favorite watch. All right. I have a lot of favorite watches, a lot of watches I like. I really like my little Seiko 5. I paid less than $100 for it. I really like my Vacheron Constant 10. Cost more than under 100. And I really like my Moser double hairspring, both for the way it looks, the way it feels, and the technology of the double hairspring in it. So, hey, Forbin, how's it going, man? Um, so let's get some ideas that is away from just the seller's point of view. Now, by the way, I don't think we can. I say, okay, well, we're going to have it, and they can make it and give it to us. That'd be great, but that's not going to happen. And so I think we have to look at certain things in a way and say, this has got to be something that is good for the sellers too, because if we can define what we want, and we're the people paying the money for it, that would be good for them, rather than saying, okay, this is we got together in a little committee and this is what we decided that you wanted. And, they're often wrong. Uh, that's why I can get gondolas and what's the other one? Oh, and the Prince, the Rolex Prince. They don't make them anymore because people didn't want them. Okay, well, not everybody wanted them, but I did, and for my own reasons. Let me give you another example. The one of the other reasons I like this watch is that I like shaped movements. I've mentioned I always say this wrong, the Parmigiani Hebdo Damari, beautiful movement too in that watch. I like that, and part of it is that I really like shape movements in that are other than round, of course. This came to discover a watch. It's the Jacquet 736, and I made up my own criteria. So I'm going to make up a sub collection, and I'm gonna try to get my hands on every Jacquet 736. And there's no reason that we can't do that. Not with a Jacquet 736, but maybe I don't know. You could do anything. You could collect left-handed watches if you wanted to. Okay. Hi, Sherry. How you doing? Um, okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. Hey, Marcel. Um, Bonjour. Let's see. My bad French. I don't want to run anybody off. I'm sorry if I have already. Okay, Lang and Gustudi. Uh, all right. I should have known. Okay, let's see. Shape movements, shape charges. Come on. Let's see what you got. Let's see, Sherry, any shape as long as it's hand wound. Okay, that's another thing too. I love hand wound watches. Um, and but not everybody does. I have some. I think, yeah, this is my little Seiko 5 is an automatic, and so is my oh God, I keep forgetting what they call these things. These regulators. My regulator is too. Uh, uh, I can live with it. All right, hi Chi Town, how you doing, man? Chi Town, Chi Town, Chicago. uh, okay, well, thanks. Um, okay, I like Beyonce. Ah, I, I think there's a group with Clyde, and they all sit in the back of the room. Okay, hey Christopher, watches are too related to personal taste and style. It's kind of hard to create a specification for a community unless you get really specific for a very niche market. Um, yeah, Christopher, I'm not trying to do that. I agree with you 100%. What I'm trying to say is that here we have this thing that we get from the sellers, and okay, these are high horology, and we want you to pay a lot of money for it. And there are a number of sellers who put in a cheap movement and say this is high horology because we're well known. We're big. We're a big deal as far as the name is concerned. Sort of a marketing. And marketing, of course, plays a big part in it. We're all susceptible, I suppose, to some extent to marketing, but let's try not to be. And instead of saying, "Hey, I got this because they told me to," I, I rather like, what would we like? I say, look, we can sit down. We have a big table, and the buyers are on one side and the sellers are on the other, and they both agree that, hey, listen, this is what we need to do. We need to produce watches that you guys are going to buy. And on the buyer's side, you're saying this is the kind of stuff that we like. Um, Christopher, back to your point, they are very individualistic and so forth. That's true, but what are some elements that we may find in common? Hey, bud, what do you say? My Florida Gators are starting right now. See you later, alligator. I used to teach at the University of Florida, and those games were crazy. That was fun. All right. Let's see. I tried to let marketing pick my interest, but not force my hand. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point, Chi Town. Um, they can sort of wave it in front of us, but a lot of this stuff has changed. I got an email today from this guy, and he said, "Hey, here's a German watch company," and let me see if I can find it, and I'll tell you the name of it. But anyway, so I went to take a look at this German company, and I never heard of it before. Let me see, one second, everybody, and I'll find it. It's called Nien, Nienaber, and so I said, well, they have some watches there, and they have some movements by a lot of 64 and 6498, 6497s, which is another thing I happen to like, and I break on a regular basis. Um, the and so I started looking at that, and then I discovered they're using a movement called an AS 1130. I thought, wow, what is that? I haven't heard of that before. And it looked, it's one of these nice, clean, clear movements, and I'm pretty it's hand wound too. And so, wow, look at this. Now this didn't come out of any marketing. It came out of a discussion. Somebody just sent me an email about it. Hey, Will, how's it going? FP's your cap. Thank you. Um, Okay, let's see what else you guys. Yeah, Reiner Niebuhr, Marcel. Man, I looked at those watches. There was creativity. There, they blew my mind. Now, in looking at the movement, they weren't an in-house movement, and that's okay. But they started at 1,600 euro, and 1,600 euro is not bad. I mean, that's about what, $1,700 francs, British pounds. But that sort of neighborhood is very different from the neighborhood is different from that the high horologies in. These guys like to start at maybe $10,000, and here we have this guy making some really interesting watches. This was something else. This was another thing that I was thinking of. This is my Harbring 2. All right. And this has to do with limited editions. I don't know how many they make. They make um, Marie and Richard Harbring and their cat Felix make about, I don't know, a couple hundred of these of everything a year. Um, hey, Truth Fears, how you doing, man? Um, okay. Yeah, Nino's. You like the pillow shaped? I like them too. I have one somewhere around here, but the, these are things, and the other part about it is that the sellers are can be very creative too beyond marketing. In other words, sort of something in a design. My perpetual regulator, which is my inexpensive regulator, that thing was 200 bucks, and I like it a lot, and just because it's a regulator, not because it is any horological breakthrough, and it has a purpose built movement. It's and sort of that's sort of a kick. And there's some kind of seagull that has is four regulators. Okay, let's see. These days, you buy Rolex, PP, AP, JLC, or any other prestigious brands, then the relationship ends at the door. There is no respect or communication from their side towards you. Um, well, that's true, I suppose. To some, that's another thing. They talk about, well, you should build up a relationship uh, with your AD. At AD, the whole concept of AD, the authorized dealer, is sort of a thing that you have to buy it from him or her, and you have to follow all of these rules we have set up. And there's certain brands that they treat you like dirt, and other ones, well, they treat you really nice. Hi, I see him. I see me, me. Oh man, hey Thailand, how you doing, man? Boy, Thailand, you guys are up early in the morning, and it's tomorrow. Hey, say it like it is. And Tim, hi Tim. Um, let's see. Okay. Now, gray market, I'm glad you brought that up. The whole notion of a gray market, I quit using that term. And the reason I quit using that term is that you got the black market, which is, like some guys knocked over a watch truck and took all the watches and they're selling them on the black market. And then there's the white market, which is your AD, and then there's the gray market. The gray market isn't so gray. It's really a secondary market in the sense that it goes from the manufacturer to their authorized dealers or whatever outlets they're using. And if they can't sell them at a certain point, if it weren't for the secondary markets who buy up all of these things, places like Shopworn, for example. So you have that. That's a whole maybe a connection problem here. Okay, let's see. All right. Okie doke.